I'm nervous, BK. I'm nervous. We're at that time of year. You know, we talked about it at the All-Star break. That I thought what was different about this season was that we didn't really know what the ceiling could be for this team. That we were still kind of working towards that. Well, with 15 games left, I think we're still working on that, BK.
That's the unfortunate part. I think a lot of us are still thinking, what will this really look like? And you don't want to be saying, what do you think this will really look like with 15 games ago? You would like to say, oh, we're fine-tuning, you're doing a little something here, a little something there. We're doing more than just a little something at this juncture.
And a lot of it has to do with the fact that you don't know who's going to be in the lineup every night.
That's the biggest issue, is that when you're coming down to this part of the year, you would like to have some level of certainty of what your lineups look like, what your rotations look like. But it's been very hard for this team to be able to do it because they've had this guy in, this guy out, this guy in, this guy out. It's been a revolving door of who's playing, who's not playing, which makes it extremely hard on Taylor Jenkins and the rest of the staff to put anything together that you can say is going to be consistent.
Yeah. Welcome to Night Court, everybody. Glad to be with you. We missed last week. Because of this guy.
Last week, if we would have done it last week, it would have been, so I think the Grizzlies have a chance.
Brevin had no voice last week.
No voice.
So we couldn't do the show. I didn't want to do it by myself. That would have been kind of weird. So we canceled the show, postponed it to let Brevin heal. He was on the injured list last week.
Just like this team.
Throat soreness. He was out. But he's back this week, so glad to be back with you here on the show. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at The Fish Nation, Brevin at Brevin Knight 22, the show at Night Court 22. Grizzlies have had an interesting week. In the last week, lost to Cleveland. Played a really good Cleveland team. They're really good. Grizzlies lost that game despite Ja going for 42 in that one, but. I don't know, man. I think after we saw Cleveland the first time, I thought, okay, Oklahoma City's better than Cleveland. After this time, I don't know. They're both really, really good.
I think whichever way you go, you can make a compelling argument of which one is better. And I said that the other day where I thought Cleveland was made. If they were like, here it is, like Cleveland was right here maybe. And I thought that was because the size in which they can put on the floor with all of the offensive and defensive players that they're able to put on the floor. And they have been, both of these teams really have been consistent with their lines. I think Cleveland has been a little bit more consistent because with the Chet Holmgren injury was a major piece of what Oklahoma City would like to do. Cleveland hasn't had anybody have an extended injury and they haven't been out for an extended period of time at all. So I gave them just a notch above Oklahoma City, but when I say both are phenomenal, and if you told me I think Oklahoma City's better, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
And if someone else said I thought Cleveland was better, I was like, okay. The only thing where I'm not going to say okay is if you tell me that Boston is better than both of them, and that's where I'm saying no. You tell me Denver is better than both, I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the Boston thing is interesting because Boston, it just depends so much on whether or not they're knocking down threes.
Yeah, and they've become even. It feels like they've become even more reliant on that 3-point shot. And so with the other two, I think the other teams can score well enough. See, a lot of times what happens is they put pressure on you because they score so well that you feel like you got to keep up and score. I think Oklahoma City and Cleveland both are very comfortable scoring a lot of points, but they also are very comfortable shutting you down.
Yeah. And then the Grizzlies took on Miami, beat the Heat. Jaren scored 31 in that one. I felt like, Taylor talks about it every night about getting better every game. And the Grizzlies had let some big leads against Dallas, Utah, New Orleans, let big leads get away, and then they turned into really close games. This one, they got a big lead. They held on to the big lead. They put them away. It felt like the closest 48 minutes that we've seen from this team.
In a long time.
Yeah.
Of a dominating effort on both ends of the floor. Because the other thing with that was why those other teams kept coming back were defensively they just weren't good.
Right.
And allowed teams to go on the runs that got them back into games that made it. I mean, literally, it was like every night we were playing clutch situations.
Yes.
Last 5 minutes of the game, within 5. PD has been saying it every single night. And so it was nice for there to be one game where we could call a hammer nail coffin earlier in the basketball game. We could sit there and start talking about other things because the game was handily in their pocket. And so I thought that the defense also took a step. They kept the lead, they pushed it out, but I thought defensively they found some things. But you can always find something when you're playing against a bad offensive team.
Yeah, and then you come to Sacramento to start a 5-game road trip and get beat by the Kings, and it was, just you gave up, 130?
132, 134, one of those.
Over 130 to the Sacramento Kings, and just turnovers, just careless turnovers. The careless turnovers are just killers, and Sacramento they were scoring on every one of them.
Right. And this was a game where we had two of the nemesis came back to haunt them. The turnovers, defending the three-point line. The two things that hurt them in that Sacramento game. And you saw the turnovers were big. It really started within the last 3:20 of the first quarter. The Grizzlies had one turnover. They were doing a good job, even though Sacramento was making a lot of shots. But the Grizzlies were playing good enough. They were getting scores, but they weren't turning the ball. And then within that 3-minute span, they had 6 turnovers. And it felt like Sacramento scored, or they scored at least on 4 of the 6. But they were, the way that it happened, like a snowball effect, it gave a team who had lost 4 in a row confidence. And they had no confidence. The Grizzlies just needed to play well enough to keep them in the searching mindset. Well, there was no searching, and the crowd got into it. I mean, for a Monday night game, and for a team that had lost 4 in a row, I give those fans a lot of credit. They had the Golden One Center rocking.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of it was because of how Sacramento played, the way that they shot the threes. Too many good looks from the three-point line, rhythm threes to guys who are good shooters.
Yeah. I like that arena a lot.
I do.
I like it a lot. It gets loud. It's really bright in there, but then they got the natural lighting coming in as well. It's a really cool arena in Sacramento. One thing about the Sacramento game, Desmond Bane, 44 points. He was terrific, and he was knocking down shots all over the gym.
Well, he came out in that third quarter. I think he had 20 in the third quarter after having a really good first half in general. And the issue was they were going to need for he and Jaren, with Ja missing another game, that they were going, and there was no Scottie Pippen Jr. and no Santi Aldama. So they were going to need for Jaren and Dez to go big in this game, and then allow everybody else to just fit into their role. Well, Jaren got into the foul trouble, never really got a rhythm in the game, so it forced Dez to have to do what he did in that basketball game. But they're gonna have to figure out, number one, how can they keep Ja on the floor more often? He's too big of a piece to this puzzle for it to be playing games and then some games out. It hurts the rhythm of what happens. And then you combine that with now Scottie Pippen Jr. is not playing. Well, it thrusts people into roles that are not their natural roles. Even though I said Luke Kennard played, I thought he played well in that first half of playing downhill, creating some opportunities for himself and his teammates. But that's not what guys are going to do as their normal thing.
I don't want Luke to have 11 points and 7 assists. I want Luke to have 18 points and 4 assists.
Yeah, but when you're asking him to have to be the organizer or creator, now
he's not going to get the shots.
It becomes an entirely different role that he has to play. And so I just, look, the thing is those guys have stepped up, and I commend them for being able to step up and take on more than what they're allotted to do, really, for this team at this juncture. But it's going to be very tough to continue to play and win at this point in the season without Ja being on the floor, because every game for a lot of these teams, there's very few teams at this point who will be playing for nothing. And even those teams that are playing for nothing, there'll be a bunch of guys who are now getting minutes that didn't get minutes. So now they're playing just as hard as anyone else. And so I would like, and I would hope to see see him on the floor with the other two and get Santi back. Just have more of the complete team ready to play so that
with 10 games left, that would be nice.
With 10 games left, that would be perfect because the thing is, luckily last night Golden State lost, Minnesota lost because those teams were playing well, and you do not want to fall back into being a play-in game.
No, you want to stay in this mix between 2 and 5, and
you would hope you would love to be able to stay in the top 4.
Yeah,
like absolutely. That. Just that one, at least one round of home court advantage.
Well, and with that being said, losing to Sacramento makes Portland and Utah almost must-wins.
Must-wins. I mean, and then have a good showing against the Clippers. The Clippers are not unbeatable.
Yeah.
But you have to beat them. They're not. They're one of those teams that they're not going to beat themselves. They're going to have to match the physicality inside with who's their big guy?
Zubats.
Yes, they have to match his physicality on the interior with rebounding, and then you're going to have to deal with James Harden. And so, but Portland's playing a whole lot better than the Portland that we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah,
they're playing a different team. And they saw Utah. The Utah game was one in which went down to the end in Memphis. So those are teams who are falling down. And yes, you would like to get the win. You would love to still be able to go back home after this, say that you're 3-2 on the road trip.
Yeah,
took a big hit with the loss at Sac, but still have the opportunity.
Yeah, Portland, Clippers, Utah, and then OKC on this road trip left for the Grizzlies. And OKC obviously will be very difficult. Some other NBA news: Paul George shut down for the year.
Are they gonna give me NBA news? Like,
was that not a news?
No, I mean
that's just kind of.
Paul George has pretty much been shut down for a year from the beginning of the year.
They're a mess. When Miami was in town the other night, we were talking with some people from Miami, and they were like, yeah, we're kind of trying to fall out of the play, but Philadelphia's there.
We're both trying to do the same thing. So it's not working. It's kind of like we're by default. We're staying in it.
Yeah, we've lost 8 in a row. We lost an entire 5-game homestand, and Philadelphia can't catch us. Man, what a pain in the ass that is. Anthony Davis is close to a return for the Mavs.
No, so this report that they were going to send him down to the G League to get ready.
That's right.
I mean, that's why you got play groups. Just play them in some of those play groups, unless you want to try to get some fans to go to your G League game. I don't know why.
The only way to get fans to go to their G League game is if they sent Luka down. Oh, that's right. He's not there anymore.
Yeah, I don't understand unless you want it to be. Like, oh, no, wait, I take that back. They don't even have enough guys to do a type practice where you can get up and down. I mean, that's
right. They only have 8 guys.
They're on the cusp of having to forfeit games with the amount of players that they have available for them. So I guess I take back what I said. That the only way that he can play and test the abdomen is by going down to the G League.
No kidding. Cavs won 16 straight games before that was snapped by the Orlando Magic. Another big note this week was JB slamming the officials. Another coach slamming the officials for a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, JB was serious too. You know when you're serious, I always say, like, when you get mad and it's almost like you're gonna tear up. It's like there's the tearing up when you're sad and you want to cry, and there's the tearing up when you are just absolutely furious. And I thought he was close to it, being furious. What I give him credit for is he never used any foul language, never cussed, but he got his point across as to what has been going on with the Pistons. But the best line to me was, I know that we're a physical team and we toe the line, but still give us our credit. And in my mind, I was like, damn, that's the Grizzlies of old. I mean, literally, that's what he is going to Detroit and done, was create how the Grizzlies played for the most part in terms of the level of physicality, how they're going to get into you. They're not going back down. This may be a borderline foul, but it's just a foul. The difference is then they just got Cade Cunningham also.
Yeah. No, they're really good. It's been unbelievable to watch, and his rant was great. And I love rants when you kind of run out of stuff to say, so you just start pounding the table.
How about we hit the table the first time? You saw the score sheet just, whew. popped up off the table. When he hit it the third time with his fist, I said, "Oh, this table is about to break."
The table's.
I think that's what he realized. I think I just need to get up. Give me this goddamn score.
Yeah, that was great.
I love JB.
Steph Curry. How about this? Steph Curry broke Ray Allen's record for threes, right? 2,974. Steph Curry just hit his 4,000 three. 4,000. That's 1,100 more than the next man on the list.
Man, he is spectacular. I mean, and yes, the shots that he makes are great, but just think of the longevity to be able to, how long he's done it. I mean, he came into the league with the ankle injury. They said that they don't think that he's going to last.
I said he's got no hope in the league. Man's got soft ankles. Never make it in the NBA.
And now, what is he, year 18, 17 or 18 now with the 4,000 threes? And I told him when we saw him in Golden State, he is more physically put together now than I've ever seen him. And so because of it, it has allowed for this level of longevity. And so credit to him for keeping his body, keeping his skills there, and being able to play at such a high level to have that accomplishment. I mean, literally, how about you just breaking your own record? like I'm out here just playing. I'm shooting against myself.
Every day.
That's all I'm doing.
Just adding to the numbers.
Pretty special. And listen, that Golden State Warriors team, boy. I mean, I now listen, this is what I would say. I was one of those people that was like, oh, they get Jimmy Butler, so what? That's not changing that. It's not going to change much with their team. Maybe it'll give them a little boost. I did not know it was going to totally change their basketball team, and he has totally changed it. And it's what he's done on the court, but I just think the belief that they can win now is what has been the biggest difference. I think before he came there, they were just flailing. And we don't know if
they looked old.
Yes. Are we the time for us to turn the page? Are we moving forward? And as soon as he got there, it was like, they might have another year or two under their belts to be able to play.
And he didn't make them any younger.
No, they stayed old. Yeah. But it invigorated people. And then they got a bunch of their role, not just the normal, usual suspects. Every time you turn on and watch, they got these other name guys. I'm like, I don't even remember that guy being part of the roster. Yeah. Early on, those guys are going out and competing well, and so they credit to Golden State and credit to making a move that has totally translated their team. Changed them.
I mean, they've come. We were talking earlier about that 2 through 5 bunched up group. They're trying to get themselves in that group, and they're not very far behind. And just a couple of weeks ago, it felt like they were too far back, that they weren't going to be able to get into that group. But here they are. I guess it helps when you win almost every single game that you play.
Listen, when you only have lost 2 games since they've gotten Jimmy Butler, then it puts you in a position to be where they are, just like the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah. Memphis Tigers win the AAC.
Go, Penny. Congratulations, Memphis.
Congratulations to the Tigers.
Yes.
And then they get themselves a 5 seed, which is, I don't think anybody was expecting a 5 seed from the Memphis Tigers this year. It seemed as though they would be around 8 or 7, but to get themselves a 5 is great. And all they got was the hardest 5 seed matchup in the tournament. They're actually an underdog to Colorado State, the 12 seed in this Colorado State team that's won 10 straight games heading into the tournament.
Well, this is. I wonder if Big Body Roddy will be at that game.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, you also don't want to be the 5 seed. For whatever reason, there's always the 12-5 upset.
Yeah, at least one.
There's at least one. A lot of these years, there's multiples within it. And so it was almost like, we kind of fine to be 6. You want to be 6? We'll take 6.
Right.
Somebody want to give them 5, you can give them 5.
Yeah.
And because you're playing against, and more times than not, you're playing against a really good older team that's in that 12th spot. A team that has won their conference, and they've done it in a fashion that it has been that way the entire year, and they played together, and nobody knows about them. They don't talk about them in the national media, but this is their time to shine. And so they play that much harder, and they're already good. So I know that Penny will have his guys ready, but they're gonna have a showdown against Colorado State. Yeah,
looking forward to that. The Tigers in Colorado State. Also, just looking forward to the tournament in general. as we get started. The play-in games get started tonight, and then the tournament gets underway on Thursday. BK, I love to ask you this every year. You don't fill out brackets because Stanford's not in it.
I can't even fill out a women's bracket this year. I've at least been able to do the women's bracket for as long as we've been doing it, because when Tara was there, they went to the NCAA tournament 35 straight years that they went there. And the good thing was I could also pick them to win. Not just not just pick them, not just being in and just a game, but I was able to just, I think they can win this year.
And you'd have a good chance.
And I'll be okay with doing that. And this year I don't get to do the men or the women, even though I give Kyle Smith a lot of credit on the men's side. They had a really nice turnaround this year, really did some good things. Tough loss in the ACC tournament, even though if anybody was watching the game the other night, I already had my rant about how our big guy got fouled on the rebound. But we won't go back into that at all. Yeah. But they'll be playing in NIT this year. So, but it's a credit to how hard they worked to get themselves back to relevance.
Yeah. All right. Your favorite, what's your personal tournament memory?
Playing against UMass, even though we lost my first 2 years playing.
Cal wasn't coaching then, right?
Cal was coaching.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, Marcus Camby was there. But they had two guards like Edgar Padilla and some Travieso. Yep. And they talked so much shit like they was going to stop me. And I just was like, y'all got this twisted, bro. Like, I might be playing on this. I might be out west playing, bro, but I'm from the East Coast. Man, I'm not letting y'all stop me. No way in the hell are y'all going to slow me down. So had good games against that. But then the ultimate, though, was beating Tim Duncan at Wake Forest my senior year. To go to the Sweet 16 was amazing, just to get the program to that point, and where they hadn't been since 1940. And so that was fun, and then it was a good game playing against Utah. Went to overtime. Another game where I was fouled.
You were fouled, yeah.
Fouled in the corner on a three. Should have had one free throw to win it, but lost in overtime.
Who fouled you? Andre Miller?
Andre Miller.
Yeah.
He was a hack. No, I'm just playing. I love Dre. Dre's such a... I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who you competed against and who you would still compete against when you get to the league that you would want to not like, just because they played well, he's like, oh man, I don't know, like you can't not like Dre. Mm-hmm. And to this day, I still feel that way about him. Just a such a class guy, and has the best mom in the world.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you told his mom, right, that you were fouled.
I told her. Every time we see her, she's like, bro, I love you. I was like, but you know Andre fouled me still. I still want you to know he fouled me. I love y'all too.
Some golf news. You ready for golf news?
Yeah. Let me see where you coming with first.
Rory won the Players.
I mean, JJ gave it to him on the 17th hole and knocked the ball in the water after already being down. I mean, made it to the playoff. He had the 3-hole playoff. And then he's down one already going into 17, and Roy's on the green. He has to be aggressive so he can try to get back in it and hit the dead into the water over the green. I mean, that was it.
You've played at Sawgrass, right?
I played at Sawgrass.
How'd you do on 17?
Sawgrass 17 was absolutely phenomenal. I hit no ball in the water. Probably still got a bogey.
Nice.
But I hit the ball in the water.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
That's cool.
I'm better than JJ Spawn.
Man, I probably have told this story before, but we were there in Jacksonville for the Super Bowl. When the Super Bowl was there, the Janet Jackson boob exposure Super Bowl. So,
that's what it's known as.
Yeah. And the media party was at Sawgrass.
Did they let y'all go on the course?
We didn't know what was going on. I mean, you basically you parked your car, you got in this bus, and then they took you, and it turns out they'd let you out, and they said, just walk down this little path right here. And you walk down this little path, and you come out, and it's 17. It's Sawgrass, right? And you're looking over the tee box, and you see the hole. It's amazing. So as we're walking up, we notice that they're letting all the media take shots at the hole.
Wow.
And it turns out that if the closest to the pin's going to win like a trip to the Super Bowl for the next year, there are a couple of other prizes, whatever, and everybody's trying to take it. And it's just ball in the water, ball in the water, ball in the water, ball in the water. And we're walking up, and as we're walking up, we were kind of hungry as well. It was Eli Savoy and I. Mm-hmm. And as we're walking up, we heard this music, and it sounded like Hootie and the Blowfish. And I'm like, I think it's Hootie and the Blowfish performing in the tent up on the left side of 17.
Right.
And so we go into the tent, and Hootie and the Blowfish are playing, and we're like, all right, well, we'll go take our shot later. Let's get some food, and let's listen to Hootie. So we're eating, drinking, listening to Hootie. The concert ends, and we're like, all right, let's go take our shot. They shut it down. Yeah, they shut it down. So I had the opportunity to take the shot at 17 Sawgrass and missed my opportunity.
Hootie was going to be there no matter what. They wasn't going nowhere.
No, but I'm a big fan of Hootie. So
I would have been that dude that hit and then got to the end of the line again and was like, I didn't get a chance yet.
I'm gonna go again.
I want to get my chance.
But it was cool to see, but I didn't get to take a shot.
But it's a totally different hole without the stands being there. Like it's like I think the stands is what really gives it the effect that people see. When you're just playing it normally, it's just an island green that you're hitting to. It didn't have.
Doesn't look like a stadium.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't the same. But I mean, you know all of the history, you know what it is. But I would love to do it one time with the stands being up. Like maybe go right after the tournament is over.
Yeah. Tiger ruptured his Achilles.
I've been telling you, Tiger's done.
It's too bad. I mean, he's done.
And I mean, he's been done for a very long time. Like when he came back and won the Masters, like that was it. Like that was the culmination of his career. And all of this keep trying to come back. At this point, if he wants to keep playing competitive golf, just go to the seniors, play with the old dudes. Get you a cart, hit you the ball, and then some type of exemption that allows you to get in the cart and play that way. But in trying to play real golf with these youngsters and the length of these courses, with all of the surgeries that he had,
can't do it anymore.
It's impossible. Man, just enjoy your son. Keep making golf courses the way, being a golf course architect. See if you can grow. You love the TGL, so see if they can keep growing that.
The TGL. Ladies and gentlemen, Brevin Knight in the house.
Right, all of the stuff. All of the VIPs that came?
The VIPs. It's a list of who the hell is that? It's terrible. All right, time for a toast. I got a toast this week. This one's very obvious, very simple. Shout out Tony Allen.
Yes.
Tony Allen's number 9 goes to the rafters at FedEx Forum on Saturday night. It was a great ceremony, especially when Tony took the microphone.
Wow. It wasn't just the thing. The people that watched, it wasn't just the speech part was good, but watching his wife try to make sure he didn't fall off the stage was even better. I'm sorry. And the thing was, she was wanting to sit down. She had, listen, I know she had those heels on, and so I know she was like, "Man, just stand up here with these on. I need a break." But she could not sit down because Tony was pushing the barrier. But at one point, I was off the stage to the right of him. His heels were off of the stage. And he was just in. That's when she moved him, and then she stood on that side. Like, I might need some.
I'm going to spot him.
Just try to stay right there. But that was the first one where we had somebody go down and talk about everybody that came out to see him.
Which was cool.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, it made it a little longer, but the thing was, but for Tony too. I mean, you can't just single out a couple of people. For all the people that came, you gotta go through the whole list, and he did, and had something great to say about every single one of them, which was cool. I love that he said Quincy Pondexter thought he was Kobe.
Why you wearing that arm sleeve in practice?
That was fantastic.
Toast to you, man. But even just for that statement, man. I don't know what I'm drinking here. I got Glacier Clear Pure Drinking.
Oh yeah, I got Jamba Juice here today with a nice, colorful.
I had Jamba Juice.
Razzmatazz.
I had Jamba Juice yesterday. Acai bowl. Their acai tastes a little bit different than the other acai that I usually have.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got. BK, what you got? Anything else?
I got nothing, man. Yeah. Hopefully, we see a more complete Grizzlies roster. See what this. I'm still high on them when they're all together. That they will be a tough out in the playoffs, and they have an opportunity to win a series. And then you see what happens from there. But if it's going to be mix and match all the way up until that time, I think the seeding part of it is going to play a bigger role than what we anticipated.
It sounds like Santi will be back here soon. He's moved up the ladder on the injury list.
And I understand taking the time with when you have those. When you have lower
when he came back, you could tell it
wasn't the same.
No.
When you have those lower extremity things, we talked about it, and you got to move quickly, and you just put that in more of in more jeopardy. And so I just want him to come back ready. I want Ja to come back ready to be able to play out the season. I want Scottie Pippen Jr.'s wrist to be good so he can play out the season. And because, like I said, we're a very good basketball team when you put it all together. When we're having to just mix and match and do these different things, then
that's hard for
it changes. Yeah, it changes the dynamic very much.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week here on Night Court. Good to be back with you. Glad that Brevin's voice is better. Glad. And don't forget, you can listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, but also you can watch every week on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel as well. So you can watch the podcast each and every week and see our beautiful palatial studios here in Sacramento this week.
Yeah, this is absolutely trash.
The artwork is fantastic. Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for us here on Night Court. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget you can catch us on Twitter. I'm at The Fish Nation. Brevin at Brevin Night 22, the show at Night Court 22. For BK, I'm Fish. We'll talk to you again next week on Night Court.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Night Court podcast. If you enjoyed Rob and Brevin, hit that like button, subscribe to the Bluff City Media YouTube channel, and enjoy the content. We will see you back here next time.